Yeah, so welcome back to another off the job overtime, no, guest episode. Got that wrong. Today we've got James Hatfield from LiveSwitch all the way from America. So yeah, thank you for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah. So if you could let us know whereabouts in America you based.
I'm in North Carolina, which is on the east coast of the U.S., about midway between Florida and New York,
Okay.
and I'm in the mountains.
So we're not the only one with cold weather then at the moment.
No, I'm freezing right now.
Yeah, so you have a trade background. Yeah, it'd be great to hear sort of your background in the trade industry.
Yeah, as they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And my grandfather, unfortunately, his dad died really young. When he was young, he had to drop out of school when he was 16 and work at a tire shop to support his family. He had a big family, and so he really came from nothing. And when I came around as his grandson, his big dream for me was, James, I want you to paint the highways. Just get out there and get a machine. I'll paint on the highway. You'll always, and that's my dream for you. And so I said, hey, grandfather, I'm not going to probably start there. Maybe start painting homes. So when I graduated, I went and I started a painting company, and I had multiple crews, and then I came to a machine company. So it's all my grandfather's fault how I got in the trades.
What made you transition then from paint to power washing?
Luck. So it was
Okay.
a really hot day,
Yeah.
and we were painting a house. And one of the neighbors in the neighborhood, we were doing a residential job that day. They came over and they saw me and saw our power washer. You always have to power wash the house before you paint it, just to make sure the paint applies really well. And they said, "Hey, I don't need a paint job, but I could certainly use a power wash for our home. We've got some stuff growing on it." So took the job. One of my crew got it done in a couple hours, and the margins were great. And they got to play with water on a hot day. And I said, well, hey, that was pretty easy. And oh, this guy needs a power wash every year. So the recurring revenue is great because you paint a house, you don't need to go paint that thing for another 15 years. So I was able to book jobs year over year with power washing. So it became a nice recurring revenue job with great margins.
So, how many people did you have working for you then on the power washing company?
Well, the beauty of a power washing company is it needed less people. So I went from 2 full crews painting, and usually you need about 3 guys on per residential, or if you're doing commercial, a bit larger. And so I was able to reduce the overhead. Not that, it's always hard to let people go when they're good, but I didn't need as many people. So I only needed 1 and maybe 2 people at the most per crew if it was a commercial job to get it done quickly. But some of the residential jobs required only 1 person and 1 truck, and I loved that part of it.
Yeah,
So,
I love the way you look at it because not a lot of tradespeople look at it as recurring revenue. They just look at it as a job. So it's a smart way to think for tradespeople, like whatever trade they're doing, if it's a job that's regularly booked in, obviously painting's hard. But yeah, something like power washing, plumbing, electrical, there's jobs that you can do that can be rebooked in, which gives you guaranteed
Yeah,
work.
yeah, you get to look at your business in a different way, like a book of business. When one customer, it wasn't just get the next customer, go to the next one, get the next customer, go to the next one. It was get that customer, lock them in every year, and then scale that way. So I had more predictable revenue doing it that, and I could book that out because they needed it done every year, and I could even offer, say, hey, let's go ahead and book it now, and I'll give you just a little bit of a discount for pre-booking it and putting it on the schedule. So I really loved knowing going into any month how many jobs I already had booked and how many I needed to sell. And that helped kind of weather some of the ups and downs and off seasons.
so as a painter, did you do like an apprenticeship as a painter out there, or of any type, or was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I went and found somebody that was doing it, and I picked it up pretty quickly. I didn't think it was too
What, the
difficult.
brush?
It
No,
actually, well, back then, I mean, everything was just rollers and paintbrushes. I
yeah.
mean, I'm dating myself. This was like 25 years ago, but I remember when the first paint sprayers came along, and I had to have one, and it was a blessing and a curse because not everybody was using a sprayer at the time. And I remember my guys, we made more mistakes in that first year having a paint sprayer than we ever had. Because it's just all you have to do is touch the trigger and paint starts flowing out, right? And painting roof, unfortunately, was easy if you didn't hold the shield right and you hit the roof. Ugh, that was expensive problems. So, but bringing any new technology or anything, whether it's a paint spray or technology, can be a challenge for the team, but also a really big blessing as well, because we're plow the job faster. But then I went to power washing. I learned the paint sprayer just to move over to power washer and sold the sprayer. But whatever, live and learn.
Did you find that there was a lot of people when like the paint sprayer came out? Did you find there was a lot of people like older school like painters and that who didn't like it, who was objective to it?
Yeah, because it was something new to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of lazy sometimes. Like, we just want to book the job, do the job, get the money, do it again tomorrow. And so I don't really want to learn anything new, and then I got to teach my guys, and then it's more money and it's a headache, and you want to bang your head against the wall and you're like, is this worth it? But yeah, you got the early adopters and you got the folks that are a little more slow to change,
Yeah. What's it like as a whole, the trade industry in America? Yeah, even down to sort of apprentices getting jobs, because it's not that easy in the UK. It's more sort of who you know rather than what you know to get started, because a lot of people want experience.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to find good people always. And then the trends that are going on are these larger companies or these franchises are coming in and gobbling up all the trades and just adding it to their portfolio. So they're grabbing good people. They're coming in with bigger company type of approach. They're McDonaldizing the trades, and we're also finding this generation, because of COVID. I think I don't know what to blame it on, but this generation of workers sometimes can be challenging, that they don't want to
Yeah, that's
put
very
in that
true.
extra
Yeah.
mile. But the other part of this generation is they're really tech savvy. So we see the younger generation adopting things faster than the older generation. And for the younger ones that work hard, they can come in there and really steal business from some of the more established guys that have been around a long time, because they're using technology that gets jobs faster and closes it, and they present themselves well, and they're finding ways to really get efficient. So I think some of these younger tradesmen are running circles around some of the older ones at times.
Yeah, we find that over here. You're ahead of the game now if you're on social media and you're advertising yourself on social media and putting yourself out there. It's funny that you mentioned about that it's kind of a bit McDonaldized, because I see something the other day on social media saying about how a lot of like businesses, like one man band businesses or family run businesses, are now selling that business to these big corporate brands. It's funny that you mentioned that, and is that a big thing going on in America now? Then.
Yeah, it is, because the guy that's getting ready to get out of the trade wants to find a exit and doesn't always have an apprentice to give it to, or an heir, a son or daughter to give it to. So the only thing they do is they go to these brokers and they find a business to buy it, and they get an exit and they want to retire. So off it goes to the larger company or the McDonaldized version. It's just because no one wants to take over the business.
I don't know how that would make their customers feel, that they've been putting their trust in a tradesman for the whole of their lives, and then all of a sudden they're handed over to a big corporate chain who've obviously got massive overheads, and the prices will go up, I'm guessing. But it feels like that I don't know about over there, but over here, especially with taxes, charges such as ULEZ and traffic problems, traffic charges, it feels like that the one man band is trying to be squeezed out of the trade anyway, and it going more corporate. Would you say that's the case? Do you recognise that? Because that's what I sort of like see over here. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, in cities, that's what you're seeing. In the rural areas, they'll still kind of remain more of the mom and pop, just because the corporates tend to just use their data and say, hey, the population size in this city, we can make a lot more money. So they'll target those cities first, and then the rural ones come later. Or if not at all, they'll just not serve, because there's not enough upside for them, not enough margin.
What do you see as one of the biggest struggles in the trade industry?
Getting good people.
Yeah.
Good people is and what we're seeing is people are starting to look overseas and using virtual assistants to help them, especially in the bidding process and on the sales side. As people now in the age of Amazon or e-commerce, people want things quickly. They want it delivered. So they go to Google, they look for a 5-star review, they see your phone number or email or website, and they go in and they expect 5 stars. How fast can you be here and how much? That's all they care about. That's what the customer cares. No longer is it, hey, this is what my parents have been using this guy for 20 years. Let me give them a call. And it's now just about speed to lead and speed to get the job done. And customers kind of don't care about the rest sometimes.
Do you find that over here we're recognising it a lot more now? Do you find that there's a huge amount of pressure on tradesmen, and it is contributing to a problem within the mental health sector? Do you find that a lot of tradespeople are suffering with severe mental health problems out there? Like we've been talking earlier about a thing over here called the Lost City that is going on the tools, and it's about suicide rates within the trades. Have you recognised like an increase in there within the trades?
I had this discussion yesterday, actually. It is a problem. Guys will go to a conference and sit around the bar and compare how many heart attacks they've had, how many medications and injuries, and they're really struggling with their mental health. So these coaches now are differentiating themselves with helping tradespeople talk about their time, relationships, their nutrition, and it's becoming more like professional sports. And so we're starting to see that come into the mix. And for the tradespeople that are allowing that and to listen to that and change, like even this one guy said he had one of the tradespeople's wife reach out to him and say, "What are you doing to my husband? Like, what have you told him? Because he is listening to me. He's taking care of me." And then she wrote a handwritten letter to the consultant because her husband's changed so much for the positive. So it's an opportunity. It's a crisis, but also an opportunity to think about things differently. And also the trades, and a lot of our kids are foregoing university and just say, hey, I'm going to go trades because the money's really good. And we have it pays well. Like the jobs are higher bid jobs. There's more margin there. There's a lot of opportunity, but the work itself can get pretty difficult on mental health. So it is a problem here.
Yeah. Yeah, so you went from painting to power washing, then you actually went into tech. That's when you first sort of getting into the tech industry. So yeah, it'd be great to hear about that, how it started and sort of where it went.
Yeah, so I got the companies going, and one of the areas I struggled with was just the blocking and tackling of the finances. And I was like, man, I really probably need to go to university or get some help with this. So I went to university while I was running my companies so I could really learn how to manage the books. And as I completed that, I ended up running into my now business partner. He was running a landscaping company and finishing up his MBA at Duke University. And we created a technology where you can put in an income statement and balance sheet that you get from your bookkeeper, and it would translate it into a layman's terms, like here's what you're doing well, here's what you're not doing well, and let's compare you to other people in your trade so you can see how you stack up. And so we created that, and I somehow was like, well, let's give this a shot, And so I'm really good at selling. I mean, I've been selling since I was young, even doing door knocking. I can date myself here, but I said, hey, look, I'll go and find a home for this. And so I start calling CPAs, accountants, and say, hey, look, I've got this technology that you can put in front of your tradespeople after you run their taxes or do their books, and they can pay for it. And sure enough, we became Inc. 500 for 3 years in a row, which means you're one of the fastest growing companies in the United States. And it continued to grow to a point where it became banking software. And now most every bank across the country here uses our technology for bank loans, and it's now a multi-billion-dollar company.
Wow.
So that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, it's
you've done well for the first sort of tech, going into tech. Yeah, it's done really well. How long was you? Are you still involved in that, or?
No, we sold it. We sold it to KKR. A bunch of guys I hired are still there, and we went into philanthropy. And we have an organization called Inmates to Entrepreneurs. We're a strong believer in educating and second chances. A lot of people don't like to hire people with a record, but we figured, hey, let's give them some skills how to run their own business. And we put thousands and thousands of men and women through that program now, and it resulted in an ABC television show called Free Enterprise because the stories are so heartwarming and touching. And we decided, hey, philanthropy is great. And I started another nonprofit myself, and we're like, this is great. We love that, giving back to our communities, but we want to try to build another $1 billion company. And instead of starting from scratch, we bought another company 4 years ago. It's out of Canada, actually. It's a 16-year-old company, and it's another tech company. And we did something pretty profound for the trades that I'm excited to talk about as well. And it's our next our next thing. And it's an interesting story what we're doing now as well.
Yeah, because they say that it's easier to buy a company rather than start from scratch. If you can feel you can make it better, yeah, it's definitely the way forward. You hear that a lot. People sell their first business and then look out for businesses you can buy.
I mean, I've had my company for 12 years, and I'm still starting it, to be quite honest. So I take advice from anyone, to be honest with you. I've got a phone. Shireen still got a phone. She'll talk. That's a business coach. She's specifically for plumbers.
Yeah, I've been going on at him to get in touch with her because he needs. But like you said about helping with finances, a lot of tradespeople struggle with. They get behind on their taxes because they're just not organised with their book. So that's definitely a valuable thing. But it'd be nice to hear then sort of the next journey you're on with LiveSwitch and how you're helping the trades.
So you're working with some big companies out there, James?
Oh, very. Some of the biggest companies in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. With this company, yep.
Who are they?
So this is a tech company that we have. It's specializes in live video and recorded video. It's one of only 4 companies in the world that do it. We wanted to find something unique where we could come in and really learn the business and then do some unique things with it. The largest customer we have is Adobe. We power one of their $1 billion products for live video. We did the Super Bowl last year. We're doing it again this year. If you go to an MLB ballpark for baseball and scan a QR code and they put your face on the Jumbotron, we power that. And we power all kinds of things for governments and Department of Defense, NASA, and then a lot of sports entertainment. And the reason this is an exciting time is because I got the opportunity to work with the chief of police in Washington, D.C. to reinvent our 911 emergency call. And so that nowadays, when you make a 911 call here in the States, you do it over your cell phone, and it uses an ancient technology called telephony. It's like using a fax machine. The worst part of a phone is the phone. I don't know if everyone has that same problem, but it's an old technology. So now with it's called WebRTC, Web Real-Time Communication. You can receive a text from the emergency services. You tap it. There's no app to download. You just tap the text and you're on with live video, and you can point your camera. Now our cell phones have 4 cameras in it. You can point that camera at the emergency, and that live video feed goes to the police car, fire truck, or emergency medical. And it's called situational awareness. They can see what they're driving into. And so things with governments take forever. I know that's shocking to hear. So I said, who else could use this quick click to connect technology? And I met a guy in the FBI who takes care of the Tennessee Titans NFL football team. And he's taking care of a huge arena. And I'm showing him our emergency response stuff, and he said, hey James, I have a really stupid question to ask you. I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, can I just text my guy across the arena when the trash cans fall over so I don't have to hop in my golf cart and drive over? And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. And that reminded me of the Nextel walkie-talkie. If you remember those from back in the day, everyone had the little walkie-talkies. And I was like, I wonder if tradespeople could use this. And I ended up talking to somebody in the removal industry, really a thought leader in the space. And he said, James, you have no idea what you have. I mean, I was telling him the whole emergency story like I just told you guys. He's like, we're going to use this for virtual estimates. So we no longer have to drive out to do the bid. We can just send a text. The customer can tap it, show me the work that needs to get done. I'll bid it. That way I don't blind bid it over the phone. Now I can see the work. And because he's like, the most expensive thing we do in the trade, as you know, because you ran a painting company, is put a guy behind the wheel of a truck to drive them out there through traffic, just in the hopes of winning the new business. We don't always win the business. So if I can do that, and as well as he's like, James, what happens a lot is sometimes I'll book an appointment for the next day, and I'll call them and say, hey, I'm on my way. And they'll say, no, never mind, I don't need you. And why don't you need me? He's like, oh, we just called the next person. They came out yesterday and I booked the job with them. So people are snaking each other's deals. And so that speed to lead is huge. And he was so right. We have hundreds and hundreds of tradespeople all over the world using our stuff, from painters to plumbers to HVAC to removal companies to holiday lights hangers. And they're using this for virtual estimating and also on-site documentation and a lot of other cool things that I never would have thought of. So it's been a joy to be full circle, coming from painting and power washing back to painting and power washing. So I've been really enjoying watching the disruption of the trades.
It's an amazing achievement. I mean, it's an amazing achievement. So hats off to you there, man.
Yeah, it's a cool journey to hear, especially building sort of the company before and then going into this. I like to so what it must have been. So obviously you joined, and was the company working with Adobe and stuff like that? Was there a lot of pressure, would you say, like joining a company of that size? How did it feel in terms of, or because you had built and sold a company, you was confident, obviously, but what's the pressures that come with that? Because it's a lot to look after.
It's completely humbling. I remember I was working with our engineers, and they were speaking English to me, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying because the technology that they're working on, these are computer scientists. And I'm like, I'm just the trades guy.
Yeah.
I don't understand what these guys are saying. But what I did have is, I always make fun of them. I was like, you guys have soft hands because they've never done like a hard day's work or been up on a ladder. And they're engineers, right? They've never been on the job site. So when I speak to them, I speak of things they don't understand, right? So you put me with them and you're able to create things that make sense. Like engineers like to over engineer things. Like everybody bangs their head against the wall for software because the guys that build it have never been in our shoes. They've never run crews, never been on site, never dealt with a customer who's angry or a problem you were having trouble with the unit or whatever you're trying to fix. Also, the type of people that I sell to, the type of guys that I employ, I'm like, we like stuff that just works. We like simple things. Like when I hit the button now, well, back in the day, you used to turn the key of the truck. I just want it to start and go to my job. I don't need to understand how the engine works, although I love working on engines. But nowadays they put computers in engines. I'm like, I can't even work on an engine anymore. But I just need my tools to work, right? I need the power washer to start. I need the truck to go. I need the water to flow, and I need to get the job done. And so these software platforms that are out there these days, I'm like, gosh, these were not designed by tradespeople. We wouldn't make it this complicated. And so all the tools that we create, and I have to challenge my engineers all the time. I'm like, guys, like it has to be easier than a phone call. You don't understand. It won't get used not just by my team of my guys, but by my customers I'm trying to sell. They don't want to deal with another app to download or another this or that. I just want to see the work, and they just want to show the work, and we just want to get it done, and I want to get paid. So that's a unique angle that we bring even through this noise of scientific challenges.
Yeah, like you say, it's definitely important to keep it easy because tradespeople just sort of shy away from it if it's too complicated. And because we had a look at LiveSwitch, didn't we? And I can say it's easy. It's very easy to understand. So I'm going to ask Pete this question because he is a current tradesperson. Would you do video calls to customers, like to give estimates? Like if you had the chance to, would you do that?
I mean, I think what you mentioned earlier with the arrival of COVID a few years ago, I was doing that sort of thing anyway, and I was actually talking my customers through, whether it be on like just the phone or if they took a video or a picture of something, I'd talk them through of how to get round it. You know what I mean? I had a customer actually, very basic of jobs, but she was worried about a leak on her stopcock, and I told her just to tighten the packing gland. I talked my cousin through changing a filling valve on a toilet. So it's not something I think it's something that we don't think of straight away, But
We're not
it's
aware
right
of
there in front of us, isn't it? It's right there in front of us every day. We've got our smartphones. You say it's like one of the most important tools in our toolbox, which it can be, and all we got to do is utilise it. And I think what you're doing by what you're doing, it sounds like you're just simplifying that for us, which would be more, for me, it would be something simple for me is better. Do you know what I mean? It's just something to get your head around easy enough where you can just go, yep, this is what I want to do. I want to take a picture or video call of the customer, and then they'll tell me, and then I can just sit back in my chair and go, yeah, after doing all the calculations, that's how much it's going to cost. I think it's a brilliant idea, and I would probably use it, if I'm honest with you.
And what's interesting and to think about is the tools that we've been giving, like FaceTime, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, that was not designed for remote assistance. It was designed for us to either have a conversation or the grandparents to watch the kids blow out the birthday candles, but not a tradesperson to look at an issue, in this case, plumbing, right? Think about this. If I'm a customer, right, or a potential customer, and I need to show you what's going on, if I'm on a FaceTime call, you are big and I am small. And I have terrible eyes. I have big fat Coke bottle glasses. I'm a nerd now. So when the customer looks through their smartphone, they need to see themselves big and the tradesperson small, because I'm looking through my phone to show you the issue, right? So that's step one. That's a reverse of a FaceTime call. Second, you as the plumber need to see everything big. You need to see what they're showing you big, and that way you can see a serial number, you can see a leak. Everything needs to be recorded, instantly recorded. You need to be able to take remote photos so you can take a picture. You need to be able to share your screen if you need to walk them through a bid, and then you need to be able to take notes. It's all, and you don't need all the 18 buttons that you see on these conference calling apps. You need just a couple buttons to get the job done. So ours tool is purpose built for what you're doing with the customer. And then it goes a step further. No apps. I don't care if you're on a PC, a Mac, an iPhone, an Android, a tablet. Nobody wants to download an app. It's speed. I want to send a text, tap it, and go, right? And so there's other things going on. That's just one thing that we're solving for, is the instant connect, whether it's with a customer or it's with a senior tech and a junior tech, like an apprentice. What if you're on one job site, they're on another one, and they have a question? Or what if, to your point, I don't need to roll a truck out to do a follow-up. Look, just tighten this or fix that piece, and you can even walk your customer through them. And sometimes you can even charge for that if you need to. But historically, what you do is you already finished the job. The customer calls you and said, hey, there's still a problem. Well, you get back in your truck, you go back out there, you fix something that takes you all of 2 minutes, and it costs you your time and your money, and it could have been done remotely, right? And the next piece of this puzzle is using QR codes. Imagine what I want, like I was talking about at the beginning, recurring revenue. The reason I love power washing is recurring revenue. You can do the same thing in your trade, meaning if I'm your plumber, I don't want you to use any other plumber ever. I am your plumber. So what our plumbers are doing is doing these things called magnets and leave behinds, and putting QR codes under the hood of the toilet. Like when you open it up, they put a QR code under there with their brand, or on the refrigerator, putting a QR code. So any time of day, unless it's an emergency, you can scan the QR code, take a video. There's no plumber on the other end. They just take a video for you to say, hey, I think there's something leaking here. You're pinged that when that video comes in, you can review it maybe in the morning. If something happened at night, you can call them back and say, yep, I reviewed your video. Here's what I think the problem is. I can be out there here, and it's going to be this much. So I'm trying to literally be sticky on their property.
Yeah.
I don't want them to think about any other. I want those QR codes on the toilet. So even if they sell the property, the next person's like, oh, I already have a plumber that takes care and knows my stuff and has recorded everything. So you have a history of all the work you've ever done. If you send a new tech out, like, what did we do last time? I don't remember. So it all compounds. You're now using the smartphone in your pocket or the pocket of your customers or techs to totally change how you do business.
Yeah, I think that's a key thing, having it all recorded there. Because, you could, like you say, do it on something else, but the key thing is having your whole job record recorded, so you can just look back, see what you've done. If someone uses WhatsApp, you're going through hundreds of chats, like it's all messy, so you're not going to be organised. So that's the key thing for tradespeople. If you're organised, it's going to save you time.
I think you've taken your basic business model from the jet washing, haven't you, to this technology. It's that repeat business thing of yours that is the key to what you're growing, isn't it? That's your, from what I see.
Yes, that's how I compound any company, right? Recurring revenue is the liquid gold of any business because it's predictable revenue. It's not revenue I got to hunt for and go knock on a bunch more doors or wait for someone to fill out a form on Google or call me. I can leverage my customers. And if they even put up, let's say, my QR code on the refrigerator, if they have guests in the house or other people, like word of mouth and referrals, like, look how cool this is. Like, there's some virality to your business too, and convenience. Back to age of Amazon. People just want to know how much when can you fix this leak and how much is it and when are you going to be out here? Like, that's all I want. It's great and all that we're nice guys and we try to do the right thing, but customers really, isn't that all we want? We don't like to wait in line for anything. I don't want to wait in line for my food. I don't want to wait for the thing that I need done. And this is what's happening to the tradespeople. You're getting this demand put on you that you didn't ask for, but someone else can deliver this, and that speed to lead or speed to customer or your recurring revenue, you box everybody else out, is what's really important right now.
Do you still paint your own house?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, still
I still
get
mow
it.
my own lawn, and I still do. I like to work with my hands. I like to see a before and after. There's nothing more gratifying than cutting my grass or painting or fixing doing it all myself. But yeah, yes, I do love it.
Yes, I think when you've done a trade, it's very hard to get away from it. You always get your family chasing you up. I always get it now, sort of.
Not me, mate. Not me. If I was in James's position, I'd be hiring everyone. I'd be hiring plumbers, heating engineers. I don't want to get my hands dirty ever again. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'd be hiring people.
No, I'm prideful, man. I like to do it my dang self. I'm like, oh, they're not going to do as good as I can do it.
I bet that's probably
that's probably
where we differ, James, because there are a few people can do it a lot better than I can. So.
Yeah, my wife would agree with you. My wife would say the same thing. Say, James, call somebody, please.
So how's that? So you're married then? You got kids and stuff, have you? Or
Yep, I have 4 kids. Wife, been married over 20 years, and they never a dull moment. So the beauty of the technology that I get to work with, my dad was never around. He was, again, hard worker, built his own house. And my grandfather, of course, was never around. So I wanted to be able to see my kids every day and eat dinner with them every day. So technology like this allows me to get time back. One of my customers told me, and it was the best thing I ever heard, last week they hang TVs and put speakers in homes. And he used to drive around. He's like, James, I used to hop in my truck. I could do 4 bids a day. Now I can do up to 8 bids a day, and I get 2 hours back every day to spend time with my daughter. And for me, that's huge because tradespeople, we struggle sometimes with our mental health because we're always working, always going, on to the next thing. And we forego family, forego fitness, forego nutrition because we're working so much. So getting that time back in my personal day and giving that time back to others is the best part of what I do now.
No.
Yeah, that's a very good point actually regarding sort of going out to quote. A lot of people use their evenings or Saturday mornings to go out, which is sort of your family time. So I don't see why people wouldn't want to do it on a phone.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Customers don't see it from that point of view, do they? They don't see you coming out of the evening and seeing it any time. They just want you there or you to look at the job and get the job done. So they're not worried about your life. They just want the job done.
No, literally. So we inside our company, we use a program called Slack. It's like a messaging application, if you're not aware of what it is. And internally, like, we get with new customers all the time. We train. We love a human connection, and we're training our customers how to use this and implement in this business. And sometimes it's future training, like we go back to them after they've been using it, even for a week. And I actually still like to do sales calls. I love talking to our customers. And I sold a roofing company called Horizon Roofing in Florida. 2 guys there. This guy he was a high school teacher forever, and 2 years ago he started a roofing company, and he's got him and his apprentice there, Richie, and I'm showing them our stuff, and they're like, yep, I want to use it. I love it. We train, and then we follow up, like, how it's going. And our customer success team put this quote in the Slack channel to message our entire team because we like our entire team to know how our customers like the products or not. And they said, Kevin and Richie, the roofing company, said, I love it. I love it all. Already used it over the weekend, so I did not have to drive anywhere on Sunday. This is fantastic.
That's the
So
result.
it just kind of echoes your point.
That's the result
a
you
weekend.
want. Yeah, that's the result you want.
Yeah, that's definitely another key thing. Just not going out on them times, evenings and weekends. Yeah, no, I think it's good. So yeah, Pete will be using it next week.
We'll have a look. We'll have a look at it, definitely.
For sure.
Have you ever been to the UK?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My wife's grandmother started a school in the UK, TASIS, the school, the American school in Switzerland, and my wife was on the board. She went to school there in London, so my wife has a bit of an accent, and and other schools in Switzerland. So we have traveled over there many times, and we have a big heart for London and the school there, and back to being educators, right? So we love education in all forms.
Yeah, and I think living here, you take, because we're not too far from London, and you take it for granted when you live close to somewhere. But yeah, when I go there, I just think like London is a nice city.
It's quirky, isn't it?
Yeah.
London. It's quirky. What's the closest city to you? What one was it? Out in America?
I'm in the middle of nowhere. Nothing's close. I'm in the mountains now. I like a quiet life. It's like 4-hour drive to me to get to the next biggest city.
Oh, that's not a bad thing, is it?
No.
Best thing is to stay out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Less stress.
Yeah. Very much. Except for problem with that happened last year is we had a huge hurricane hit us. You probably saw it on the news. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, and we got annihilated. Flood waters up. My neighbors had water up halfway the front door, trees through homes, through cars. It looked like a bad movie. So that was a very humbling time in our neighborhood and our community. So we've been hit pretty hard. And I thought we were safe here in the mountains. We never get hurricanes, but I guess the weather's changing a little bit.
What's that we was talking about this earlier because we was discussing about the LA fires. Well, what is the clear up operation like out there when that sort of thing happens to a town or something? How long does that clear up operation take? Are people like obviously they're going to have volunteers, etc. What did you witness any of that clear up operation?
Oh yeah, we were working directly with our military, and my nonprofit was loading huge helicopters full of food. We serve at group homes and different things. I run a bunch of nonprofits here and love to give back to the community. And some towns were completely annihilated. We're talking about water coming down mountain and annihilating entire towns. Like the town will probably not come back. Some of the restoration will take years or it'll never come back. So it was a humbling experience, but the community bound together. We had people traveling from all over the country to come and help, and I saw a lot of great things happen. But it's still just as devastating, and we're raising lots of money and giving it to good organizations with pretty vulnerable people like our kids that don't have parents and women's shelters and things.
You sound like a good man, James. I respect you for all what you do in that, and I think this has been
it's been a good conversation.
A great chat, and nice to get to know you. Hopefully, we'll speak again soon, or our paths will cross. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Where can you find LiveSwitch?
Go online, as with all things, LiveSwitch, LiveSwitch.com. Check us out. We have videos of all different tradespeople talking about their real story. We didn't pay anyone to say nice things about us. I would never do that. That's kind of janky. So you can check us out there. If you want to get right to me, just go and say, hey, book a demo. I want to talk to James. And usually when people do that, we end up talking about technology for about 10 minutes. And then we end up talking about the business because I'm always so interested in everyone's business and what they're doing. So feel free to reach out, and I'd love to get to know anyone from anywhere in the world. So please.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate it. Before we start, was there anything else you wanted to add at all? Or?
Yeah, one last thing. One golden nugget if you're listening in, my tradespeople, because I come from where you come from. Make sure you already are one step ahead listening to this podcast. Putting this between your ears is huge. You're already one step ahead. The next thing to do, if you haven't done it already, is put a board of directors around yourself, meaning just people that have been there, done that, and not just the guys with the gray hairs, but some of the young folks, and put together these mastermind groups, become part of it, learn, keep learning. That is what's going to separate you and continue to just your success is education. And it's through mastermind groups, podcasts like this, and other avenues and conferences. So I just want to challenge everyone to keep learning, keep contributing. And thank you, both of you guys, for what you do for the tradespeople. We need these podcasts that you guys are producing to keep learning. And that stuff, like when I wish I had this stuff 20 plus years ago. But I'm grateful that we have it now. So thank you for everyone's hard work and what you're doing. You have a tough job, but you're making your neighborhoods better. So thank you for the tradespeople that are listening. That's the last thing I really wanted to say.
Thanks very much, James.
Yeah, thank you for your time, James. Yeah, we'll stay in touch, and yeah,